into the house.
The video you're about to watch is of Jen McCabe's testimony describing when her, Karen Reed, and Kerry Roberts pulled into Mr. O'Keefe's driveway to look for him. But the video of Mr. O'Keefe's Ring camera showed a different scene and was played before the court just moments after this testimony.
Yes.
Do you recall who pulled in first as far as who was in front of who on the way to Meadows, yourself or Miss Roberts?
I believe I was in front.
You would have pulled into the driveway and parked, and Miss Roberts would have pulled in and parked behind, correct?
Yes.
And so after the three of you get out of your respective vehicles, what happened?
Karen brings us to the back of the car and says, look, see, I have a cracked taillight.
And where on the vehicle was she directing yourself and Miss Roberts' attentions?
The back right.
And when you looked at that area of the vehicle, what could you see at that?
I saw that there were missing pieces, but there was also snow covering it. And Karen was screaming, look, look, and then Kerry was screaming back at her. It was very chaotic, so I didn't stare in depth, but what I can tell you is I saw missing pieces from the taillight.
And at some point, about how long a period of time is this that you're out in Mr. O'Keefe's driveway looking at the cracked taillight?
Not long, because then Kerry's, yelling at her, telling her she's crazy and that she was driving around drunk and she could have hit anything.
Why would Kerry say that she's crazy and she could have hit anything if Karen never said she hit anything? She just said, look at my taillight.
Rushes us to go into the house, to the house, to look in there for John.
She just said, after describing that false scenario, that they went into the house to look for John. Into the house. It's kind of funny, that whole thing was talking about a video that they didn't play, but a video played that they didn't talk about. So they only played video in this trial of them going into the house, the one you just seen, but there's no video of them leaving the house because this never happened. This is all made up. It's a lie. Next is Kerry Roberts' testimony, but they play the video before she gives a testimony, so now she doesn't fuck up like Jen did, or however this got twisted around for them to think that this was okay to submit it this way to the jury. I don't know. Now, you could argue this was clever of the prosecution and their plan to confuse the jury. And then you could say, why didn't the defense cross-examine Kerry Roberts? They know they did with McCabe, but not about this. But watch Hunty Bev interject in Kerry Roberts' testimony coming up to make sure the jury hears the reason why this confusion happened.
Now, with regard to at some point when you get to the home, beyond the sort of initial observations you made of Ms. McCabe's driveway with regard to the right rear passenger taillight of Ms. Reed's vehicle, what, if any, other observations did you make, or what, if anything else, did you do with reference to that area of the vehicle?
Karen did point it out at one point in the driveway. She said, my taillight, look at my taillight. And I looked at it and I said, you told me you don't remember anything from last night.
How does look at my taillight mean she doesn't remember anything from last night?
She said, do you think I hit him? Do you think I hit him?
Remember, at this point, they never found the body yet, so she's lying.
I said, no, I don't think you hit him. I think you probably hit something, but let's just go in the house and look for him. Just go in the house and look for him.
Testimony number 2 saying go in the house and look for him.
And so as far as your recollection is concerned, that sort of interaction that you had of looking at the taillight, when did that happen?
You just said seconds ago that to go in the house and look for him. Now she's going to say it must have been when we left the house to go look for him.
I don't know if it was when, well, it obviously wasn't when we got there. It must have been when we were leaving to go out to look for him.
When you what? I'm sorry.
Like, how obvious is this?
I wasn't sure if it was when we arrived or when we were leaving to go back out and look for him, but now that I've seen the video, it's obviously when we came back out of the house.
But they both testified that they went into the house after the taillight. Into the house.
Okay.
And who was present for that?
Who was present?
Yes.
Jen McCabe, Karen Reed, and myself.
And as far as where Ms. McCabe parked that vehicle, at any point in time that you were at the house, did that vehicle move at all? And by that vehicle, I mean Ms. Reed's vehicle.
I don't think so.
So where it's parked in that video is essentially where it stayed as far as you know.
I believe so.
Now, With reference to those observations, or when you were looking at the rear passenger taillight area of Ms. Reed's vehicle, how close to the vehicle were you when you were making those observations?
Right in front of it. There was one piece,
He didn't ask you to describe anything. What are you doing?
like a rectangle encapsulated, like whatever was broken. I remember there was one piece of metal sort of sticking out. So if it was an encasement for a light of some sort, I remember looking at it and the piece was sort of sticking out, and I thought someone's going to catch their sleeve on that or something.
See how that kind of like plays out? That's probably what made the scratches on his arm in multiple places. But this is Kerry Roberts, who's John O'Keefe's good friend, and she's now part of covering up the murder. Disgusting.